to 2031-32.
Okay, thank you. Right, I don't have any further questions on this particular site, so Mr. Stoops, do you have any final comments?
Yes, I was just wondering about the 3 points of bringing through the 3 points of that there be retained. Well, it's really just holding over from HS 52, and there's an express comment in there. Established woodland within the site will be retained the opportunities explored to deliver targets in the biodiversity action plan. Development should incorporate 2 hectare area of natural green space and kick-out area. Other categories of green space that will require development contribution. And then the first paragraph, the sports facility equivalent to the existing facility that will be lost will be required. And they don't seem to have been taken over or held over into LP 742.
Mark, if I could say, I think we can cover the first 2 of those points, and they're probably covered by our new policies in the plan regarding biodiversity, net gain, and also the provision of amenity open space. The third point about the sports facilities, I hope I've just demonstrated that those facilities have already been provided in Helmswood. So there should not be a further requirement for further contributions to those sports facilities.
Can I just add that the policy does say woodlands and hedgerows indicate that priority habitats and shall be retained and enhanced.
Okay, so there is reference to the woodland, and then there's a reference to an element of green space according to your new policy.
Yeah, there's been, obviously you've got up-to-date evidence basis in relation to open space, up-to-date technical assessments on these sites, and we have a plain pitch strategy. We've recently had an updated one, but the information based on the previous one is the same. Currently the site is not in use as playing fields, and the playing pitch strategy does not require any new sites for new additional pitches. It needs improvements of the existing ones in that area.
I hesitate to complicate this further, but as part of the previous plan applications I referred to, draft section 106 agreements were put in place. So in addition to the replacement of the sports facilities, at the time there was to be a contribution of £350,000 to sports development contribution. That would come to the local plan authority, district council. So it may well be there's still an opportunity to secure some funding through the granting of a new planning consent that might assist with developing sports facilities, but it will be different to the sports facilities that have been replaced.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. You stole my thunder. It was that point that there was some contribution and a financial sum of 350,000 that was part of that. It got its way into the contract as a section 106, but can't be enforced in the contract, part of the complications there. But having regard to that and having taken into account the fact that there was this component of 350,000 that was due to be paid, providing that comes through, then I accept everything that the council has been said. So that I recognise that. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. Okay, we've got no more questions then on that site. That takes us on to item 10, land at Burntwood Bank, Mashfield Road, LP 761 and LP 683 for housing. The council has put forward some modifications in the schedule of modifications regarding the site area and the wording of the policy. If you can just quickly run through the changes for me, just so I get a better understanding of the reasons behind them. So you're proposing to have a joint policy for those 2 particular sites that are in the plan. And then also to extend the allocation to the north on area which I haven't been to date, but is shown, as I can see, as marked as a playing field, a sort of white area on your policies map. So that would be developed for housing. And then a new replacement sports or playing field would be provided to the west side. Okay, so that's what you're proposing. Can you just outline for me what's changed, why that's now coming forward and the reasons behind it?
Okay, so in the publication representations from Great Trust, they said they've been in partnership with the council and will be working on deliverability evidence. So you've got LP 683. I'm getting right around. It was that's the council side, yeah, and LP 761, which is on Great Trust side. The council have provided us with some viability assessment, taking into account those two sites. Also, obviously, we've got highways information talking about the difficulties of accessing the LP 761 from Burnwood Bank. And so LP 761 would need to be accessed via LP 683. So that's the other important reason for those two to work together. So the viability assumptions are the same that the site is not deliverable for that amount of housing, and therefore...
So both of those sites aren't viable then?
Yes. And have proposed, the two possible accesses for that is either Ashfield Road, which is adjacent to LP 683, but better access would be Highfield Road. So it's been proposed to us this a new boundary by which the equivalent of playing field would also be developed for housing. We would have that replacement playing field. So that's effectively where.
So just to confirm the proposal to extend the size of the application, the amount of housing would aid viability. Is that
Yes,
the reason?
absolutely, that is the underlying reason for this.
Okay, and in terms of the evidence then for that, is that in the examination library?
It isn't. We haven't published, and we haven't been out to any site promoters who provide viability assessments and asked for them to be made public. So it's all the other sites that's not in the examination library.
And how many houses would it involve on the new playing field, or the current playing field site?
It would be, I'll have to just work it out in terms of what the capacities are of the three sites. So we've got the new field site. The site that is proposed in schedule changes, which is a housing capacity of 185. LP
So it's 62, I've got them as 761.
62 for 761 and 60 for LP 68. So that is a difference of 63 houses to come forward on the playing field.
Okay. And would access come through the other sites to that extension?
Access would be able to come through Highfield Road. I think.
Okay. Is that true? I don't, because I haven't been to the playing field.
No, it's.
Is Highfield Road?
What we've said, yeah, primarily in the schedule of changes, proposed new site policy text, it says primary vehicle access will be from Highfield Road and any relevant highway safety intervention.
The playing fields are adjacent to Highfield Road.
Yeah, yes, sorry. Yes. Okay.
There's also an opportunity here to try and address some issues associated with parking, so with the use of the playing scheme now, so the council is confident that the bringing this site, combined site forward will be viable.
It's obviously, so it's an extension to current allocations. Have you done technical work and sustainability appraisal work related to the new site?
We've not specifically done on the site, however, the sustainability appraisal and technical consultation that was undertaken for those two sites, and also there is a rejected option that is, I think it's part of the playing field and part of the land to the west, but or it might be wider than that, I'm not sure. It's not the same boundary. So there's been, you know, the boundary itself hasn't had a sustainability appraisal or technical consultation directly, but there have been areas in the area, and we've gone back. There's obviously conflicting statements between LP 683 and 761 in terms of open space. We have reconsulted in relation to that, so we had an accurate site policy requirement for that. Everything else that's applicable, we've taken across from those two sites and the information we've got from projected sites.
Okay, so just to confirm then, so you're saying that part of one of the rejected options covered that playing field, but not the whole, it wasn't looked at as in its entirety when you're doing sustainability appraisal and the technical work?
Yeah, I think it doesn't match the same boundary, so it's, you can't just say, well, because you're going to say that. I'll just put it up, so let's have a look. Yeah, so actually it's a bigger area. The site rejected site option looks to me as if it is a slightly, this is a bigger area than where the replacement playing field is going to be.
So did it cover the existing playing field then?
No, so the existing playing field has not had any technical consultation or SA as a single site option.
Okay, thank you. And talking about then the replacement area of open space, would that be equivalent in terms of quality and quantity then to what exists?
Yes, I think we would put that in the policy. We haven't do that. We haven't, we just said replace the playing field, so that we have discussed with colleagues that the, I mean, obviously you haven't been provided on the map. We said our schedule of changes, there's maps to come. But we, in terms of the boundary, we have confirmed with our colleagues that have worked on the playing field strategy that the replacement, the area would be an appropriate boundary for the pitches that we've required. I haven't got at my fingertips exactly what the response was, and I cannot tell you exactly that what is required is exactly equivalent in terms of sizes of pitches, because it's informed by the playing pitch strategy needs in the area.
Well, it's likely to lead to an improvement in facilities that would be aligned with the playing field strategy needs.
I mean, that's the other practice. I mean, I usually haven't visited it. Certainly think the land where the replacement playing field is slightly less sloping than the existing playing field to start with, you know, but obviously that's just looking it's a baseline.
Okay. And then another question is, obviously this is a new scheme, it wasn't in the plan. Have you thought about how you want to take this forward in terms of consultation with the community?
Marm, I think you've already raised this point before in relation to another new site to the plan. I think we would adopt the same approach, so we would review and consider updating the assessments and then carry out a consultation in the new year before we carry out a formal consultation on proposed modifications that are being drafted for the plan.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else around the table wish to comment on this site? No? Okay. Yes, I would agree with what you just said, Mr. Ford, in that obviously at the moment there's no technical information or sustainability appraisal on this specific extension area, so that's basic information that I would require, let alone the community needs to see, to enable me to make a decision on the suitability of the site. The other aspect is critical as well, is that obviously there needs to be some information on the replacement sports provision, replacement playing fields, because obviously the NPPF requires that there needs to be at least equivalent re-provision in terms of quantity and quality, etc., etc. So some information obviously would be very useful on what exactly is proposed to replace the current playing field. So those two bits of information, and then obviously, yes, I welcome your proposed suggestion that consultation will need to take place, because the community do need to be involved in this quite significant change to the plan. It's probably as much as I can really say now. Okay, right, I've got no more questions on that site. That takes us to item 11, which is comments on other Hemsworth sites. If anyone has any comments, then please place your nameplates on their side now. Mr. Stoops.
Just very briefly, for LP 763, which we've made some brief representations for, and will be dealt with, its removal of Greenbelt land, and will be dealt with under matter 18 on next Tuesday, I think. We support Wakefield Council's position on that and the proposal to remove them from the Greenbelt.
So which site is that?
LP 763.
It's in Fitzwilliam, Kingsley.
Oh, right.
Club
I'm
Terrace.
looking at entirely the wrong settlement. Okay. So in Fitzwilliam.
It's called Club Terrace.
Oh, yes, okay. And you just saying that you support the council?
We did. We put in brief submissions about that and why we agree with it being removed from Greenbelt, and we support everything that the council's set up. Wakefield Council's forward. So, apology in advance for not attending that session. There won't
That's
be.
fine. Thank you for your time. Okay, that brings the session to a close then. Thank you for everyone's time and for all the comments that you've made. I'll obviously take away some of these points to consider, and we've obviously talked through quite a few main modifications as well to the plan this morning. So thank you very much. The session's now closed, and we're meeting back again next week on Tuesday. Thank you.